Hey, English crew, it's Mr. Williamson, stumbling through these Zoom things. I think I had some goof ups, like the initial invite I sent out for Zoom. I had the wrong times, and then I sent out another remind about it to everyone. So several of you did show up, several of you did not. I do apologize for it, but I will. It should be corrected in the future. Just as a reminder, every Wednesday when you guys are at home. Uh, third block, you guys will start at 10:30. That's when our Zoom is. Not 11:30, 10:30, and fourth block, you guys will start at 11:30, and that will be every Wednesday until we go back to Plan A. And the links, I'll keep sending out emails about the links, but also check Canvas. Okay, Canvas will be sure the links are updated there. And if for some reason the link doesn't work, just let me know. But hopefully everything will be worked out. Third block, thank everybody for showed up. We had a good turnout there. Fourth block, the turnout was pretty low, but I do want to thank those people who did show up. I think we had about maybe 6 or 7 people show up, and I want to thank everyone who did show up. So, so for those of you who were not able to come or just didn't come, I want to quickly go over what we went over on the today's Wednesday meeting because getting concerned about several of us falling just way behind. Okay, and it doesn't have to be that way, but it does require you, the individual student, to actually like step up, take ownership, and start doing what you're expected to do. And if you need help or have questions or just don't understand, you need to reach out to me, okay, or Miss Luan, and let us know that you need help. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all this PowerPoint. We didn't even do this whole PowerPoint. So there are some parts of this PowerPoint that we're just going to go over later. All right, I'm not even going to worry about the starter there. That was just a little fun starter thing here. The things or the riddles, we're going to skip all that. I am going to remind you that oops, did not mean to do that. There we go. There is a vocab unit 7. The quiz is on Canvas now, and you should be able to take it. You should be able to take it up to 3 times if you need to, and be sure you do it. It's an open note quiz. Really, you should be able to do it. Just like Miss Alon has said repeatedly, there's no reason you can't get 100 on it. You just need to do it. Take your time with it, and you get up to 3 times to take on it. But it does need to get done by Sunday. Okay, so it's out there on a Wednesday. It needs to get done by Sunday. Same for the homework. Okay, same homework options as always. Please, just do it. And easy grades, easy 100. Just looking to see for some effort there, and post it on Canvas. Okay. Be sure if you do it on paper, you could take a picture of it and submit it through Canvas. If you don't know how to do that, just contact me or Miss Lewan, and we will show you how to do that. It is simple, but if you're not comfortable submitting, like doing the work on Canvas, you can take a picture of your paperwork and submit it through Canvas that way. We went over vocab 8 words, and I'm not going to go through them right now with you, but I'm just going to tell you that these are, we got a new set of words that I'm going to post on Canvas, and we'll be working on those for the next week. And as always, there will be an assessment the following Wednesday, and homework will be due the following Wednesday. So just for your own time's sake, I'm not going to run through these words right now because you can look at them at your own leisure. I will have these on Canvas by the time you see this video, hopefully. And so let's skip all that for now. The thing I wanted to go over with you, commas, we're going to go over commas later this week. That's going to be the new grammar thing we do, but we did not have time to go over it on Wednesday's meeting. Okay, but we did talk about the Odyssey. Okay. Several of us need to step up with this, okay? We are the reading unit that we're doing, and we are more than anything, we are a reading class. The reading unit we are doing right now, the reading modules about the epic hero, and the story we're focusing on is the story of Odysseus in the story of the Odyssey. And within that story, there are individual chapters, and each chapter, builds upon itself to become the entire story. Now, this first thing, Sailing from Troy, this should have already been done by this point. You should have already read it and completed the questions on Canvas. But if you haven't, it's still there. But it's important you do it. Okay, it's important that you take the time to read this particular chapter. It's not a long chapter, and you complete the activities for it. I even have on Canvas some Edpuzzle videos about this chapter for you to answer questions as you're reading. So I'm going to share this with you too. This is all part of the presentation. It's just some key points of the chapter Sailing from Troy that you should be aware of. And I just want to stress that there are a couple things that we are focusing on as we read the Odyssey. One thing is we're focusing on the idea of the hero. What is a hero? What is an epic hero? And how is the main character of this story, Odysseus, is he a hero or not? What are some heroic traits of him? Does he possess? What are some non heroic traits? And how does this character grow and develop throughout the story? That's one thing we're focusing on. Okay. Another thing we're focusing on is the idea of culture. An epic hero at its core symbolizes and represents the culture from which it comes. And Odysseus is a character, an epic hero from ancient Greek culture. And we don't know much about ancient Greece actually, because a lot of most of that civilization just like perished over time. And there wasn't a lot of hard documents kept. I mean, this predates writing in many cases. But the one of the things that did survive that gives us kind of like a peek into what ancient Greece was like are these stories, these myths. The Odyssey is one of them. Now, I'm not saying that we're not saying at all that the crazy things that happen in the Odyssey, like Zeus and Poseidon and Cyclops, were historically accurate. No, these were stories. We acknowledge that, but from these stories, we we are able to infer a lot about what ancient Greece was like and what ancient Greek culture valued, things they valued, and ideals they represented, and that's one thing I want us to try to focus on and try to understand as we're reading these chapters is what does each of these chapters say about the cultural values of ancient Greece. Now, there's you might have differing opinions, and that's fine. You just want to be able to like explain why you feel the way you do or why the way you think you do based on the text of the story. So that's another thing we talked about today, and our Zoom meeting. We talked about American culture as an example. Like, what do you think of when you hear the word culture? What are some examples of culture? And what are some like examples of American culture? And we talked about things like everything from like clothing to food to religion, so all that adds up to be part of uh, uh, culture. And particularly American culture, we talk, if you think about America and what we tend to represent more about independence and the independent individual, whereas other cultures might value more about the collective and the community. So they're just an example of how uh, culture different cultures represents different values and ways of life. And as we're reading Odyssey, that's one thing we're focusing on. What does this story seem to say about ancient Greek culture? And the third thing that we'll be focusing on as we read the story is just connecting it to our own life experiences. Like, in what ways do the events of this story, like on a symbolic level, relate to our lives? Like, what are some challenges that you face in your life that you can somehow or another relate to this story? So these are the bigger questions that we are trying to address as we work our way through the story. But you can't do that if you're not reading any of the chapters. So I'm trying to really encourage you to, do that. On Canvas, there are two things that I expect you to do, and these are open-ended questions. And all you need to do is go to Canvas and then click where it says click here, and it'll take you to a Padlet. And there you can post your responses to these questions. The first one is about the hero and the monomyth. The monomyth, I don't know if you remember, that's like talking about the hero's journey. I showed you a couple of videos about it a couple of weeks ago, but we could talk about that more later. But here are some questions that I would like you to answer while on Canvas through the Padlet. One is, what are the characteristics of a hero? And don't go online and look it up. I'm asking you, when you think of a hero, what are some qualities or characteristics that you associate with a hero? What are the characteristics of an effective leader? Is Odysseus a hero or not, based on what you've read so far? And is Odysseus an effective leader? Why or why not, based on what you've read so far? So that is something that I want you to do. And if you post it on Padlet, your responses to Padlet, we can share them as a class and discuss them more when we meet in our groups. The other Padlet activity I want you to do gets back to the cultural values that I was talking about. And it's just these questions right here. In what ways can conflict benefit an individual? Because in the story, just like in just about every story, conflict is a essential part of the narrative, and the way the character responds to and deals with the conflict is important. So as we're reading, these stories, working through these chapters, ask yourself how the way Odysseus deals with this conflict. Is he learning something? Is he growing from the conflict, or is he not? Because conflict, a lot of times we associate negative things with, but through conflict, we grow as individuals. And that is definitely, by the end of this story, Odysseus has, I would say, a wiser, more humble man because of the conflicts he faces. So that is a question that I'd want you to address and put it on Padlet there. In what ways can conflict benefit an individual? Based on the events of the chapter Sailing from Troy, because that's the only chapter I would have expected you to read by that point, does Odysseus benefit from his conflicts? Why or why not? And then this last one, on a bigger scope, what are cultural values, and what cultural values does the Odyssey express in the chapter of Sailing from Troy? And you can't address that question unless you actually take the time to read that chapter. So it's a short chapter, and like I said, there are a couple of videos up there that on Edpuzzle that I've linked there to help with the understanding of that chapter. We just need you to read the chapter and get some feedback here on Padlet. And once again, you just click on the link where it says Padlet and go there. This is all on Canvas, okay? But it's also in this presentation I'm sharing with you. And it says so right here. Hopefully you've had time to read the following chapters in the Odyssey, Sailing from Troy. This week, we're going to focus on two more chapters, the Lotus Eaters and the Cyclops. Later tonight, I will post the Lotus Eaters and the Cyclops along with some questions to go with it, and that'll be the chapters we'll be focusing on over the next week. And those of you in Group A, we already read the Lotus Eaters and discussed it. Group B, we'll be reading Cyclops in class. And there is for those of you who read the Lotus Eaters, I've got today in our meeting, we watched a short scene from a movie called, a movie called Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And that directly is an example of another work of art, another film making a direct allusion to the story of the Odyssey. It's an example of how one work of art inspires another work of art. And we just watched this one scene from it. And if you've never seen Percy Jackson or Lightning Thief, it's a good movie, and it connects pretty well to the Odyssey in the sense that it's another example of a journey story. It's an archetypal journey story, just like the Odyssey is. So that is pretty much what we went over today, and I just wanted to do a quick video review of it for anyone who was not able to make it to today's meeting. And like I said, I apologize about posting, originally saying the wrong times. That was my fault. Next Wednesday, um, just make a note of it and look for, expect that third block will meet at 10:30 and fourth block will meet at 11:30. And those of you who are coming to class on Thursday and Friday, really looking forward to it. And those of you who are going to be staying at home on Thursday and Friday, be sure you log into Zoom at the appropriate time. Third block is 12:15. Fourth block is 2:15. Links will be on Canvas. I'll also send out another remind for you. But just be sure you're there and present and active. And as always, contact me or Miss Luan if you need anything or have questions. All right. I will talk to you guys later.